The US and Ukraine are done as Trump kicked Zelenskyy out of the White House and the peace deal was ripped up. In front of the whole world, Zelenskyy and Trump had a fiery shouting match as negotiations broke down in front of our very eyes. Today was supposed to be the end of the Ukrainian war as the mineral peace deal was supposed to be signed live on TV. But when Trump accused Zelenskyy of starting World War III and being disrespectful, they had to take this to a private room.
I'm back, FOBIAS, and today we're going to be taking a look at these creepy TikTok videos. These are the winners of the riddles. Congrats to y'all, you know what I'm saying? You guys have been doing pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Today's riddle is, what kind of room has no door or no window? If you know, put it down in the comments. I also have a special announcement. Finally dropping my haunted vlog video. I know some of you guys are like, don't do it, don't do it. And some of you guys are like, please do it, please do it. I did it. It's supposed to come out Halloween, but you know what I'm saying? It took a little bit to make videos like this, so like, you're not getting it until Marchoween. We finna call it Marchoween, and that's this Friday. You're not getting it till this Friday. Today is Wednesday, March 5th. It's coming out March 7th. Unless you're a channel member, channel members actually get it today in the next couple hours from when I'm recording this video. So make sure to check it out. It was very, very interesting. It was a very creepy experience, I'm not gonna lie. So if you guys want to see me go through one of New York's most haunted asylums, make sure to watch my new video coming this Friday. You won't want to miss it, trust me. If you guys like the video, try to get over 2,000 likes this video. As y'all know, these videos do get intense, so watch at your own risk, and remember to subscribe.
The US may pull its military support from Europe, causing EU leaders to desperately devise this plan to try and entice Trump to stay. Europe became alarmed when they realized that the Trump administration is serious about cutting its costly support of the EU after the US Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, considered withdrawing thousands of troops from American bases in Europe, and Elon Musk openly questioned if the United States should leave NATO altogether. This caused EU countries to face the harsh reality that in order to defend themselves without US support, they will need to spend more than $3 trillion over the next 10 years and train up an additional 300,000 troops just to meet the defense benefits that the US currently provides. Some EU countries now believe that it'll be far easier to just negotiate a deal with Trump that includes offering America better investment opportunities in Europe, thereby giving Trump a vested interest in protecting the continent, along with a fairer trade agreement to correct the trade imbalance that currently exists between US and Europe.
This has been like a big thing that's going on lately, and recently Trump and Zelenskyy had an argument in the White House, but like, why does it feel like every single European nation just depends on America? And now the US is kind of just like, we don't really want y'all to depend on us, and everyone's just freaking out. It's actually crazy.
He was pulled into a drain pipe after being caught in a flood. A nearby officer rushed over to help, but he was quickly dragged in too. The rushing water forced them both through the 100-foot-long pipe, and they were underwater for nearly 30 seconds as the pipe traveled beneath a 4-lane highway. They finally came out on the other side, gasping for air and lucky to be alive. Her head got jammed between the car door and the payment machine as she tried to leave the parking garage, and her dead body was found hours later. At first, her death was a mystery, but when they played back the security footage, they saw that she'd leaned out of the car to pick up her dropped credit card. As she did this, her foot accidentally hit the gas, and the car sped forward, slamming into the machine.
What the hell? That's a new fare unlocked.
The US and Ukraine are done as Trump kicked Zelenskyy out of the White House and the peace deal was ripped up. In front of the whole world, Zelenskyy and Trump had a fiery shouting match as negotiations broke down in front of our very eyes. Today was supposed to be the end of the Ukrainian war as the mineral peace deal was supposed to be signed live on TV. But when Trump accused Zelenskyy of starting World War III and being disrespectful, they had to take this to a private room, where Trump told Zelenskyy everything is off and the US and Ukraine are done. Reports say Ukrainian officials begged to resume the talks and to restart the deal, but Trump walked out of the Oval Office yelling, "Get them out of here." Also at the same time, US and Russian officials met at Turkey to discuss their own peace deal. Trump then posted to Truth Social, Zelenskyy is not ready for peace, saying he disrespected the United States in the Oval Office and he can come back when he is ready for peace. Vance also got into these fiery remarks, accusing Zelenskyy of forcing men into battle. This was historical, and we just witnessed the messy breakup of the United States and Ukraine.
I mean, I don't know about Zelenskyy starting World War III because Russia invaded Ukraine, but I mean, at this point, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like, everything is like we're real life witnessing a change in everything. We're no longer like we're trying to leave the World Health Organization. We're trying to leave NATO. We're actually becoming allies with Russia, which is like unheard of for like the last, you know what I'm saying, probably like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, probably even longer than that. Ukraine war, apparently Ukraine doesn't want to end the war that they should end. I don't know. Crazy times we're living in, man. Like, I remember some dude yesterday, I was at the car dealership. He was like, do you think we're living in end times? I'm just like, nah, not really. But like, when you hear stuff like that, you're like, maybe we are.
Your entire life is controlled by one instinct, and you don't even realize it. You think survival is just about food, water, and shelter? Wrong. Your brain is wired for social survival just as much as physical. That's why rejection hurts like physical pain. That's why embarrassment feels like death. This is day one of decoding human nature. In ancient times, being outcast meant you wouldn't survive. And guess what? That instinct is still running your life today. It's why you fear public speaking. It's why you hesitate to approach strangers. It's why you care what people think, even when you know you shouldn't. But you're not in a tribe anymore. You won't die from rejection. The moment you realize this, you break free. The moment you stop chasing approval, you start living.
So Zelenskyy is just a person who is a puppet. He is not a real leader in that region, and he has taken billions from American taxpayers. And watching him disrespect us by showing up, he has done Vanity Fair, he has done Vogue twice, he has done the cover of Forbes, he was on the Lex Friedman podcast, okay? And every time he comes to the White House, he can't even be bothered to put on a suit. So you can't afford groceries, you can't afford to fill up your tank, and he doesn't care. He's just like, oh, well, you know what? I'm just gonna dress in my sweatpants, my military fatigues, because he's a propagandist. He's supposed to be selling to you like he's like on the front lines. He thinks he's in a movie, and that's because before becoming the president, he was literally just an actor. He was like a Netflix actor, so to speak, right? He was on a very popular television show in Ukraine where he played, I'm not even kidding, I would talk about The Matrix, he played an actor that went on to become president. And then he was an actor who went on to become president. You can't even believe these things, it's true, okay? And so that's his goal, he's an actor. He's supposed to wear outfits, he's with tons of A-list celebrities. You're in a war and thousands of men are dying, and you're making time to do the cover of Vogue twice? Vanity Fair? Guys, you have to realize how unbelievably ridiculous and wrong that is. And so it has been nice. So as soon as this guy gets out of the car, like he's just a buddy to Trump and he's just going there to pick up some more money. I mean, he actually got angry when someone suggested that we cut off these welfare checks to Ukraine. He's like, no, you pay for me. You pay for me and do whatever I want. This is the first time where he went to the White House and Trump looked down at him and was like, what are you wearing? I'm gonna show you. Like, he makes a little smart comment like, oh, okay, show some respect. Take a listen.
Ready close? Ready shut?
He's all dressed up today.
President Trump, what you got is the blood of your people, sir. President Trump, President Trump,
Thank you very
That's
much.
good enough. So Zelenskyy has always, to me, been giving Veruca Salt, don't care how, I want it now. You know, don't care how, I want you guys to get back to work and you're gonna keep funding my war, which even AI will tell you they never had a means of winning. Right? This was just a never-ending money laundering opportunity, get money out of the taxpayers' dollars, and then they go, oh, we lost it. Pentagon doesn't know where all of the billions of dollars went. That's just what keeps happening all the time. And I have been calling this out since 2022, okay? Before it was cool or popular to recognize that we were getting got, like we were just getting got in the Ukrainian laundromat over there. Can't be bothered to wear a suit. There's no reason he can't put on a suit, other than the fact that he's trying to sell to the public that he is on the front lines. It's a movie role for him, and that drives me insane. So you have to imagine how absolutely giddy I was when I saw this clip circulating from C-SPAN of J.D. Vance, Trump, and Zelenskyy in the Oval Office, because Trump is looking at him like, you're like a bratty kid. You don't even have the respect. Even you knew during Christmas time, when you were going, or it was your birthday, and you were going to see your grandparents, you knew they were going to write a check and they were going to slip $100 or $20 in there. You knew to come correct, right? You knew to have some respect because your grandparents are going to give you a little bit of money and you're going to act surprised that there's money in there. You're going to say thank you. That's not him. That's not Zelenskyy. He's Veruca Salt. Don't care how. I want it now. I want the whole world. I want to wear them like braids in my hair, and I don't want to share them. Okay? That is Zelenskyy. And so today, for the first time in 4 years, in my view, he got the treatment that he deserves from the American people. Not even the American people, the American representatives, J.D. Vance and President Donald Trump. Zelenskyy needs a spanking. He needs an old-fashioned spanking. Go outside, get the switch, back when they used to do it in the day before we were coddling toddlers. That is toddler behavior. Just wear a suit. You're gonna ask for money. Wear a suit. Have some respect. Do not litigate matters in front. Could you just imagine the audacity of your child like speaking to you? He is a welfare child. He is ghetto, okay? People, I used to say ghetto, and the media would always lie about that. Like, oh, Candace calls black people ghetto. There are people all around the world who act ghetto, and he is a welfare child, okay? Make no mistake. I don't care where he's getting his military fatigues, which he apparently has never-ending supply of. Him coming out with this hand out and acting like a bratty child should be treated in that manner, okay? That's how toddlers, you need to put them in their place and remind them, okay? Adults are speaking. You don't use that tone with me. So I say to my son, you don't use that tone with me. You don't speak to adults like that. Why? Because you're a child and it's inappropriate. And that's how I felt watching him. I'm like, who are you, okay? And he's lucky it wasn't me in there. He's lucky it wasn't me in there, because I promise you, if I was in there and he was talking to me like that for taking money from the mouths of my family's out there, they can't put gas in their tank, and you're over here coming here in your sweatpants. It would have been over. It would have been over. This is why I just do this from home. Because I can't be out there dealing with men acting like that little man child that he is.
I am dead. Yo, Candace on for president 2030, whatever the hell the next election date is after 2028. I don't really got much to say. I feel like, in my opinion, they got way bigger problems than wearing a suit to the White House. But if she's really saying that he's like an actor and he's trying to act and persuade people like, oh, he's on the front lines for real, then yeah, I get that. But me personally, I'm like, shorty, you know what I'm saying? I got bigger problems than a suit. You know, like, I'm getting invaded. My people are getting bombed. You know what I'm saying?
Countries with the rudest people, according to Tourist. Well, before we talk about the rudest countries, the 5 countries that are ranked the friendliest are Portugal, Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, and at number 1 is Canada. So if you live in any of those countries, good job! However, at number 5 for the rudest country is none other than China. But guys, us Americans aren't too far off, because we were ranked as the 6th rudest country. Next, at number 4, travelers say Germany is one of the rudest countries, but Germans claim it's just them being straightforward. Now at number 3 is the UK, because tourists say they're a bit passive-aggressive and noisy. However, at number 2 is Russia, because visitors say they avoid small talk and generally don't smile much. And finally, at number 1 is France. And France is literally ranked number 1 on almost every single list on the internet.
Here's some crazy history you were not taught in school. Benjamin Franklin was not trusted to write the Declaration of Independence because they thought he'd sneak in some jokes. A 15-year-old Andrew Jackson told a British officer to shine his own shoes. Abraham Lincoln founded the Secret Service hours before he was assassinated. The photographer who snapped Einstein's office after his death bribed his way in with a bottle of scotch. A 12-year-old boy lied about his age to fight in World War I and saw combat at 13 years old before his mom dragged him home. Britain spent 40% of its national budget to free slaves in 1833. The loan wasn't paid off until 2015. Greek statues weren't white. They were once painted in bright colors, but the pigment faded over time. Archaeologists dug up 35 perfectly preserved bottles of cherries and berries from the 1700s at George Washington's estate. Chef Boyardee was drafted in World War II. His factory ran 24/7, making army rations.
This is why you should never explore abandoned buildings. In 2013, 3 boys named Paul, Tim, and Max all lived in Louisiana. There were tons of abandoned houses in their neighborhood left over from Hurricane Katrina, and the boys all loved to explore them. One day, Paul asked his 2 friends to explore an abandoned hospital a few miles out of town. They agreed, and the 3 boys set off. They explored every floor of the hospital except for the basement. But upon walking down to the basement, they discovered that it was flooded with over 4 feet of water. They walked down the stairs and shined their lights on the murky water. It took them to the middle of a hallway, but they couldn't see down either side. Paul thought it would be a good idea to wade down the flooded hallway. His friends stayed back when all of a sudden there was a huge splash. Paul shined his flashlight down the basement and saw a huge creature swimming towards him. His friends began to scream at him and Paul ran back to the staircase. The three boys escaped the hospital and went home to never return. They believe they heard an alligator but will never be sure.
I'm dead. It's ironic that a video like that comes in a video like this when I was just talking about how I just explored like a haunted asylum. And yes, we did go to the basement.
The Menendez brothers. The trial ended with 2 deadlocked juries, causing the boys to be retried, but during the second trial, the judge didn't allow the boys to use the sexual abuse as a defense. Both brothers were convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder, with both of them receiving life sentences and no possibility of parole. They then didn't see one another for 22 years. Until 2018, they were housed in the same unit, and when they met, they embraced and burst into tears. The child psychologist that works with the brothers claims that the boys are innocent and their father was in fact a monster. A cousin of the boys also states that he remembers Lyle telling him during his childhood that his father was doing things to him that no parent should ever do. Others believe, however, that the boys are simply using any excuse they can, given that they are actually held accountable for their crimes. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide the innocence of
scary facts you wish you never knew.
On an American $1 bill, there's an owl in the upper left-hand corner of the 1 encased in the shield, and a spider hidden in the front upper right-hand corner. When someone tells you that they have a question for you, all the bad things you did recently run through your mind. People who don't dream usually have a personality disorder. Typing 444 will turn on TikTok's dark mode. When you suddenly wake up at night, it means someone is watching you. If you out a drop of liquor on a scorpion, it will go mad instantly. Coconuts kill about 150 people each year. Leave a note on a table before you leave the house. If you come back and it's gone, leave the house immediately and call the police. If someone misses you, they are 80% more likely to appear in your dreams. If a person sleeps a lot, they are sad. Someone invented Wi-Fi without having Wi-Fi. How is that possible?
You guys heard of the man who murdered his mother and threw her body in a dumpster? On June 3rd, 2022, at 6:50 a.m., police found the dismembered body of 62-year-old Tomoko Hoytslin in a dumpster outside of her apartment complex in Camarillo, California. Police went to the apartment complex after receiving a call about suspicious circumstances, and that's when they found the body of Tomoko. After obtaining a search warrant, Tomoko's son, 25-year-old David, barricaded himself in the apartment that he lived in with his mother, but police were able to get in and arrest him for her murder. Investigators found evidence linking him to the murder, but at this point, we don't really know what that evidence is. And the county medical examiner officers confirmed that Tomoko was strangled to death, but the motive is still not clear. David is being held on a $3 million bond, and if he's convicted, he faces 25 years to life in prison.
Traditional wedding clothes in different countries. United Kingdom, Scotland, Wales, the Netherlands, Germany, Russia, Japan, China, Mexico, Korea,
Mysterious videos that can't be explained. This security cam footage from a library taken at 5:30 in the morning shows something kinda confusing. Out of nowhere, a book from the shelf seems to just fall over on its own and lands perfectly on its side. The library is closed and nobody's inside of it. But somehow one book was perfectly pulled out from the shelf and landed so that it balanced on the side of its pages. It would be next to impossible to pull out one book from the shelf without disturbing the others. And when the librarians tried to balance the same book on its side, they couldn't do it. What do you guys think happened to this book? Comment below. Next we have this dude from Florida who wanted to film himself practicing his golf swings to try and get better. But as he picks up the camera to stop the video, he catches a lamp swinging somehow by itself over his dining room table. The man freaks out, and it's pretty apparent that he's not doing this. He then pans to the side and catches his cupboards opening and closing. Is this proof of ghosts?
Dirty animal facts that biology class definitely didn't teach you. Part 1. Diego, the unstoppable sex tortoise who is 100 years old, lives on the Galapagos archipelago and has fathered over 800 tortoises. When a male anglerfish meets a female, he fuses with her body, donating his brain, heart, and eyes, pretty much becoming a pair of testicles dangling from her body. Hey darling. Nice testes. In 1912, biologists had to cover up the first published studies of penguins after observing them being the literal worst. Male on male penguin action, male on dead penguin action, male on unwilling female penguin action. Oh, and action in exchange for pebbles. If Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, Marlin would have just changed into a female clownfish and mated with Nemo after his mother's death. Nemo! Oh, and fish don't talk, but more importantly, the whole changing into a
This may be one of the scariest urban legends I've ever heard that actually turned out to be true. So during the 1970s, there was a terrifying funhouse in Long Beach, California called the Laugh in the Dark. And this urban legend began circulating that all the mannequins inside were fake except for one. Something about this mannequin just seemed wrong. All the others looked fake, but this one in particular, they say it looked a little too human. A bunch of kids even said the area around the mannequin had a terrible smell. This next part is where I pooped my pants. So a few years go by, and then one day a TV crew comes to use Laugh in the Dark as one of their filming locations. The director's trying to line up the perfect shot, but he just doesn't like the way this one mannequin looked on camera. So he asks one of the crew members to move it out of the way. So the crew member goes over, starts moving the mannequin when the arm completely falls off. Inside the mannequin's arm is human bone. The kids were right all along. The mannequin was a mummified corpse.
This man claims he found a portal to another dimension in Washington. Part 2. Sorry for the wait. The next day, the dog was found outside the hole, alive. Amazed by what happened, Mel went onto a radio talk show to talk about the strange hole. Within 24 hours, Mel claims the military seized his land where the hole was and told him to never talk about it again. Even in public satellite images, his land appeared to be covered. But here is the twist. People who investigated his story found no public records of anyone named Mel Waters. And a geologist named Jack Powell came forward saying a hole that deep could not physically exist since it would collapse on itself from the pressure. He even said he knew where Mel's hole was and took a camera crew to it. According to him, Mel's hole was nothing more than an abandoned mine shaft that was less than 10,000 feet deep.
Disturbing history facts that school did not teach you. During medieval times, some women would shove live fish inside their bodies, if you know what I mean, and wait until the fish died inside them before cooking and serving it to their husbands. It was believed that this would increase their husband's love for them. Mother Teresa encouraged sick patients to suffer, but went straight to the hospital when she was ill. She is regarded by many as a saint for her dedication to helping the poor and sick in India. She believed suffering was a gift from God and encouraged her patients to accept it as a way to get closer to Jesus. However, when she herself fell ill with heart problems, she chose to get treated in modern hospitals. Charlie Chaplin met his future wife when she was 12 and he was 31. They first crossed paths on the set of the movie The Kid in 1920. 4 years later, due to Letta Gray's pregnancy, they got married when she was only 16 years old. Their turbulent union eventually resulted in one of the most expensive divorces of their time.
She fell in love with her daughter and married her. This is Stephanie from Oklahoma, and I wasn't even looking for this story. I was researching something else, and I came across this, and I was like, clicking that link. So Stephanie lost custody of her kids when they were younger, and their paternal grandmother took over. Later, she got back into her kids' life, and then she says her and her daughter just hit it off. And this was after she married her son. in 2008 and then got it annulled in 2010. She said that wasn't a actual, with an S, relationship. She just married him to get him out of the military. Don't understand how this works, but that's what she said. Now this son right here says he tried that mess with her, but he wasn't going for it. He denied her advances. DHS got involved. She was 44 here and she was 26, so I don't understand how this worked with the DHS. I don't know if there was a child in the home or what, but DHS got involved and they were charged with incest. They are now divorced. Well, the marriage has been annulled. Oh, and the mother says she feel like she didn't do nothing wrong because her name wasn't on her daughter's birth certificate. Honey, it's in the blood.
Now, I know for a fact that I'm not the only one scared that sharks are going to be in my pool, right? Like, it's the most irrational fear ever, but I cannot go in a pool by myself or without, like, a bunch of different people in the pool at the same time because I'm scared of this happening, a freaking shark being in there. I don't know why. Like, I'm just so convinced that a trap door is going to open down there and a shark's going to swim out and it's going to eat me. I don't know why. Why? Am I the only one? Am I the only one? I can't be. Like, all of these photos are fake, by the way. They're all, like, AI or Photoshopped. This... no. Someone sent me this video and I just had to screenshot it because what? AI has gone too far. This is nightmare fuel. This is just, I hate it. I know that it's fake. I know that it's AI, but that doesn't stop me from having nightmares about it. Like, this AI girly is more brave than I'll ever be because what? Watch this Photoshopped or AI video that I'm about to show and how does it make you feel? And also, tell me that I'm not the only one. I need to be validated for this, please.
That's a little bit intense. She said a trap door is gonna open while she's in a pool and there's gonna eat her. She think this is a jigsaw? It's not Saw.
Leah Roberts vanished without a trace on March 23rd of the year 2000. She was 23 years old, and after leaving a restaurant in Bellingham, Washington, she just vanished in thin air. She had driven there all the way from Durham, North Carolina, and she'd been staying there for 4 days. Later on, her vehicle was found crashed and deserted in North Cascades National Park. And finding her car happened years after her disappearance. Upon going over the car and searching it, investigators found a lot of tampering in the car's engine. Authorities suggested that the vehicle has been purposely tampered with. There was footage of her entering a gas station and she looked to be in good condition and she was alone. But the weird thing about the footage, she keeps peering outside as if somebody's following her, if she's paranoid that somebody's watching her. Days before this, she withdrew almost everything from her bank account. Until this day, Leah Roberts' disappearance is still a mystery and it is still unsolved. She had gone through a lot of trauma though, so people think she just kind of went off grid. She lost both of her parents in a very short span of time. She was a very bright student in North Carolina, but she dropped out of college a semester before she graduated to go soul searching. And once again, many think this is because of the trauma of losing her parents. But because she's alone, somebody well could have abducted her and taken her hostage. The scary thing about these cases, we might never know what happened. Let me know what you guys think about Leah Roberts' case in the comment section below, and as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
So much has happened in the past 24 hours, it's insane. Trump announced that US residency is now officially up for sale. They unveiled this brand new visa program which has never been done before, called the Gold Card. It allows you to work in the US, gives you a route to citizenship, and it costs $5 million. Trump says that it will bring in wealthy, world-class global citizens. Next, Chile declared a state of emergency last night after a blackout plunged almost 19 million people into complete darkness. It affected almost the entire country. Hospitals, prisons, and government buildings were switched to backup generators. The internet and mobile phone services went down. You couldn't withdraw cash. National Guard forces were deployed onto the streets, and a curfew from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. was put in place. Next, Trump signed a price transparency executive order, which forces hospitals and health insurers to disclose healthcare cost details, and not estimates, but actual prices. Next, phone theft in the UK has got so bad that the government has given police new powers to enter properties without a warrant if tracking apps like Find My see that stolen devices are inside. In fact, this is just one of a whole package of new laws passed by the British government in order to tackle the country's knife crime, shop theft, antisocial behavior, cybercrime, etc. It's become one of the biggest legislative updates for policing in decades. Next, more than 250,000 Canadians have signed a parliamentary petition to try and revoke Elon Musk's citizenship and passport. If you didn't know, Elon is a triple citizen of South Africa, the United United States and Canada. Next, a mystery illness in the Congo has killed more than 50 people only hours after they began feeling sick. The Africa office for the WHO said that the outbreak began after 3 children ate a bat and died within 48 hours. CNN report that the still unknown illness has symptoms which are commonly linked to known deadly viruses, such as Ebola, dengue, Marburg, and yellow fever, but that researchers have ruled these out based on tests of more than a dozen samples they've collected so far. Next, and lastly, you ever wondered what happens if someone dies on a plane but you're still halfway there? Yesterday, on a Qatar Airlines flight, a woman collapsed in the aisle and died. Cabin crew tried to move her body towards business class, but, quote, she was quite a large lady and they couldn't get her through the aisle. So instead, they had to place her corpse, covered in blankets, next to this couple from Australia for the remaining 4 hours of the flight. As always.
Man, I wish them boys on that bike try to steal my phone. I would run quicker than the bike. Like, I don't think you guys understand. I'm a very fast guy. Like, you know, I can run pretty fast. So if they try that with me, I'm catching them. Like, I'm literally gonna football, like, just dive and just tackle them off the bike and just give me my phone, man. What the I'm just joking, guys. It's not that serious. I mean, it is that serious, but...
A cold case from New York has recently been reopened after remains were found more than 40 years after the victim disappeared. This is 25-year-old Karen Ramsey, and it is believed that she disappeared from Paterson, New York in May 1980. While police have looked for a missing persons report on Karen, it has been difficult to determine if one was even ever filed. But on April 16, 2024, almost exactly 44 years later, her body was found wrapped in plastic under concrete about 8 miles from her home. Her remains were found during excavation work for a new home in a heavily wooded area in Paterson. According to a neighbor, clothing and tape were found with her remains. DNA evidence identified the remains as belonging to Karen Ramsey on June 7th, but at this point, it is unclear where the sample came from to test against. Karen had been living in a condo complex in Brewster, New York with her husband John Ramsey before she disappeared. She had married John a few years after high school after they met working in the same building. At the time they had met, John was married to another woman, but they fell in love, he got divorced, and married Karen. In October 1977, the couple purchased a condo with both of their signatures appearing on a document when they purchased it. And then on September 28, 1981, their signatures both appear again on the sale of the condo. But this was more than a year after police believe Karen disappeared. And the Karen Ramsey signature on the documents do not look very similar. The document was notarized on August 17th for the sale, but the notary has since died, so they can't be questioned. According to court records, John Ramsey sued his wife for divorce in August 1980, and he also took out a legal notice around that time, claiming that his wife abandoned him and their infant. John Ramsey died in 2022, and according to his obituary, he married a woman in October 1981, just days after Karen's signature was on the condo sales papers. Karen Ramsey's death has been ruled a homicide, but her cause of death has not been made public. But the investigation into her death is ongoing, and police are trying to determine what happened to her. But right now, it's just an investigation because there have been no real leads. Apart from the fact that her signature on the purchase and sale of the condo do look different. But this doesn't prove anything, and other than that, they haven't really gone anywhere. But this investigation is honestly just getting started as her body was just identified last month. So hopefully Karen will get the justice she deserves. Rest in peace, Karen.
If you just won 30 mil and your mom's left eye surgery costs 29 mil, what you doing? We've got eyes at home. Now this is creative. I can definitely do Patrick's. That's facts. Email from HR. Your request for time off has been denied. Me on my flight, I didn't ask. I was just making sure you were aware on my vacation. If your boss dresses like this, you're not getting replaced by AI. If your lawyer comes in like that, you're going to jail. Roommate just said, I can't believe we've never had to buy trash bags. My roommate asked me why the cleaning lady didn't come this week. The week I didn't. First day at the job, I'm nervous AF. Bro is not getting paid. Okay, serious question. What's this for? We call it the old... Tucson Cartier necklace worn by Daphne Kluger for the Met Gala, valued at over $100 million. Purely hypothetical, how could you sell a $150 million necklace? Facebook Marketplace. Next question.
Oh, you're gonna love this one. The shampoo conspiracy. Something that you use every day, but do you know who's really behind it and what it's really doing to you? Disclaimer, the ideas presented here are not theories. They're all verifiable facts. So you go over to your local grocery store to do some shopping and you realize you haven't washed your hair in over a month. It's time to clean up. You head to the shampoo aisle and you're met with dozens, maybe even over 100 different options to choose from. Quite the variety, right? Surely you can find a brand that's right for you. Well, my friend, what if I told you that 90% of these shampoos are all owned by the same 3 to 4 mega corporations, all of which have one common top shareholder? This is the shadow shampoo oligopoly, and they're all kind of working against you together. So here are the top 20 or so most popular shampoo brands in America, and they're all owned, or at least partially owned, by these 4 mega corporations. But there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, these companies are worth hundreds of billions of dollars, so they definitely must put the customer first, right? Oh, my starry-eyed little friend, let me introduce you to a very simple business practice called going public. So when you start a company, you begin as what we call a small business, a little family-owned mom and pop shop that brings some sort of product or service into the world. As you grow, you hire more people, make more money, and produce more incredible products or services to your customers. Now, I'm gonna dumb this down a lot, as there's so much more that goes into this, but I won't bore you with the details. This ain't a business course. But to keep it very simple, eventually most companies who want to make it big hit a wall, where they're not able to grow more because they lack the money required to invest in that next big thing for their business, whether it be more employees, more inventory, new equipment, bigger advertising budgets, etc. So they take out loans, look for sponsors, investors, and venture capitalists to get that money. But sometimes even that's not enough. So in order to get a lot of money really fast, they go public through an IPO, an initial public offering, which basically means their company is now going to be traded on the stock market. Now, being on the stock market means you no longer fully own your own business anymore. You're trading small percentage ownerships in your business called shares to the public in exchange for cash. If that company proceeds to grow and make more money, the value of its shares go up, and the people who bought them make a profit, either through dividends or selling the shares. Now, both people and other companies can invest in publicly traded businesses by buying their shares on the stock market and are called the shareholders. So you gotta realize these companies that go public sort of now have 2 different categories of customers they have to serve. They have the consumers who actually buy their products or services, and now they also have the shareholders who have sort of become customers of the company as well. You following me so far? Now here is where it gets interesting. The regular Joe Schmo shareholders like you and I don't really make much of an impact from our couple $1,000s or whatever that we invest in these companies. What happens is giant investment conglomerates invest hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars into these companies. Investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard, who sort of become these super mega customers of the companies they invest in. And these companies must now do something called please the shareholder, or else these giant investment firms pull their funding these companies now rely on and put them out of business. Pleasing the shareholder usually means the company now has to get their consumers, that other group of customers they have that actually buy their products, to buy their products or services as often as possible, so they can increase how much their company is worth, known as market cap, by whatever means it takes. Sometimes even to the ultimate detriment of the consumer, so the shareholders stay happy and keep their money in the company. Stock market 101 for dummies. So we went a little bit off the rails just now. Let's dial it back. Oh yes, the shampoo cabal, the 4 megacorps that basically own almost every shampoo product ever, all of which are of course publicly traded companies on the stock market. Let's see who the top shareholders of these companies are, shall we? Procter & Gamble. Oh, look at that. Vanguard. Unilever. Yup, that's Vanguard. And Johnson & Johnson. Well, what do you know? Vanguard. Meaning these companies' top customer isn't the person using their shampoo, but rather a $1 trillion investment conglomerate who by definition is literally only concerned with profit. L'Oreal is actually pretty well balanced and are still technically majority family owned by, of course, a $1 billion family, the Betancourts. But you can see their top shareholders are also big investment firms, and oh look, there's Vanguard again. Now, we're not done yet, because pretty much all of these companies have all been involved in major lawsuits due to their shampoos making people's hair fall out, drying out their skin, damaging their hair, and many other reasons. Class action lawsuits that they've resolved through settlements, meaning they basically admitted, yeah, our bad, our shampoo might have done that, so here's some money. But wait just a minute, if their shampoo makes people's hair fall out, doesn't that mean they're gonna stop buying shampoo because they're not gonna have any hair to wash anymore? Well, these same companies also make all the products that allegedly make your hair grow back, hydrates dry scalps, and fixes damaged hair. Nioxin, Procter & Gamble, Tylenol, Rogaine, Johnson & Johnson, you get the drill. Products that are inherently more expensive due to their medical properties and that the consumer will have to buy more often to benefit from its effects. Welcome to pleasing the shareholder. Now, I'm not saying that every publicly traded company is this evil mega corporation that feeds on your soul, but I can tell you, if any of these companies ever have the option between getting a consumer to buy something once in a while versus forcing a consumer to buy a much more expensive product all the f***ing time, you can bet they're choosing that one. And just apply this logic to what happened in 2020 and 2021 and you'll start to notice something. Okay, I'm gonna stop now before I get in trouble. But huge shout out to this legend, Ian Carroll, for bringing this to light. He's the one I learned this from, so definitely him if you want to learn more. At the end of the day, remember to shop local and support small businesses because those are the ones that really do have your back.
Nah, he's for real. Like, I feel like local businesses mostly has the consumers' priorities in mind. They have the consumers in mind compared to these big mega corporations that just really want more profit. These, even with eggs, like nowadays in the US, I think because of Trump's tariffs, like the eggs are expensive. But if you go to like local farms in the US, one, you get cheaper prices, and two, you get better quality eggs. If I'm being honest, Vanguard is like a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So I could see why they're mostly in the investing space. Remember, creepy vlog dropping this Friday. So if you guys aren't a member of the channel and you want to see it early, you could become a member, but if you want to wait it out, you can wait it out. It's only like 2 days, so it's not that crazy.
Thank you all for watching this here video.